roles for the managers, for the geologists, for the geophysicists. These are guys that are highly educated and they don't fit in any category. They don't fit in the category of historically underutilized cultures or neighborhoods.
Hi everyone, welcome to the Actionable ESG Talk series brought to you by AKFI, Actionable Knowledge Foundational Institute, the world's first nonprofit industry association committed to bridging the gap between ESG sustainability and digital transformation. My name is Isabella. I am the co-host here with Noel, another co-host here today, and our special guest today, Sonia. How are you doing, Sonia?
I am doing great, Isabella. Nice talking to you and being part of your program with Manuel.
Thank you for your time. Thanks to this talk series, we get to bring together great minds like you and many others to together discuss the current state and the future state of ESG, sustainability, and digital transformation. A little bit about Sonia to our audience. Hailed as the oracle of Hispanic business women in America, Sonia is a visionary entrepreneur and leader with a strong educational foundation in business and esteemed credentials from Stanford and Harvard. She founded and heads Virtual Intelligence Provider LLC. You can find more information on www.vip-global.com. which is a thriving multi-million-dollar consulting firm that partners with top oil and gas operators. Sonia is a sought-after speaker, sharing her expertise on futuristic, cutting-edge topics at prominent events, and her most recent lecture, including University of Geneva, United Nations chapter in 2023. Her accomplishments have garnered over 30 awards and recognitions from Congress. Thank you, Sonia, for bringing your expertise to our today's conversation and to our audience. To start our conversation, please share your insights on the current trends of transitioning from fossil fuel to renewable energy and how it's impacting business.
I'm sorry, repeat the question.
The question is, can you please share your insights on the current trends of transitioning from fossil fuels to renewable energy, and how does this impact the business?
Well, the impact is felt in different aspects of the day-to-day business life. It ranges from technological advancements, policy and government support, economic factors, infrastructure development. The transition encompasses so many areas: public awareness, the challenges that people and individuals are experiencing with the transition without even being trained or educated or upskilled in order to overcome the current challenges. So global cooperation, job creation and economic impact, all these aspects are being impacted.
A little bit more from your trip to Geneva, was anything that also came related to the question of the trends. I know these are long-term trends, but have you picked up something specifically that you would like to share today?
Sure. Well, some of the trends are related to beliefs, community beliefs, societal beliefs, political agendas. So, but they're all related to energy growth, energy storage. We discussed things like smart grids, efficiency and conservation, policy regulation changes, carbon pricing. Everybody's talking about all these items. Energy access and energy equity. Those are the trends that have evolved with the energy transition topic.
I think you're raising a very interesting point, because I think stakeholders and shareholders, the community of, the entire community has to move on, as you indicated, in order to really realize the requirements of decarbonization, the requirements of making the planet livable for a long time. Any insights on some of the technology parts of and how these technologies affect actually the stakeholders and the shareholders, especially the employees as part of this?
Right. And so the energy transition refers to the global shift from fossil fuels to renewables and sustainable energy sources. But as this trend evolves, technologies have evolved with it. The transition discourse has evolved into a lot of technology and a lot of political or geopolitical influences. But in the process, we are forgetting the people. And that has become a flag that I want to carry into this transition process. That's what I go all over the world talking about this, is because you can have an energy transition that is beautifully designed in paper or is beautifully designed ideologically or politically. But when the human factor is not included, then there is a big gap that is being overlooked. And as we have evolved into all these technologies, this is a very crucial moment, because it's not just the energy transition and the global shift from fossil fuels to renewables, but it is also parallel. We are running Industry 4.0, which is the moment, the pivotal moment on where the industrial revolution, technologically speaking, is also shifting. So they are both merging into one single source of transformation. And so what I'm saying is it's not only people having this conversation about the energy transition, but it's also the influence of technology at the same time. And so as we have seen, even after COVID, is probably when the shift intensify on Industry 4.0, or the inception of the fourth industrial revolution. And in other words, we are being impacted, I will say, by two different aspects. The transformation and the revolution of technology and education, but also the transformation of fossil fuels into renewables. And they're both merging into one single source of transformation and change.
Thank you. And I'm going to, come up with a magic wand and ask Sonia, if you have 3 wishes, Sonia, what these wishes would be, and to sort of frame the question. When you talk about education and re-education, we're talking about the different timeline, the timelines of reducing carbon footprint. I don't think the planet will give us another 20 years for people to go through formal education. So here is the magic wand.
Okay. The magic wand, well, and I'll tell you what my wishes will be that 4 sources will come and work together as one single team or one single cohort. And I envision these into 4 pillars. One is education. Education higher education needs to be involved, because the people that are being displaced and suffering the most are not necessarily the people working in the oil rigs and the mud rooms. There is money and there is a thought process for them that has been created and designed by, at least in the United States, by our government. But there is not a plan for the leadership roles, for the managers, for the geologists, for the geophysicists. These are guys that are highly educated and they don't fit in any category. They don't fit in the category of historically underutilized cultures or neighborhoods because they live well or they have been living in decent neighborhoods. They are not uneducated. They are all masters or PhDs. They are individuals that dedicated an entire life working for an oil and gas corporation, and now after 15 years they tell them that they no longer have a career or that that field is no longer a need. So education has to be involved in order to pivot this individual's career path. That's number one pillar. Number two pillar will be government. The government needs to become aware, and they need to know that individuals like this are in the transitioning market, and that they need to be upskilled and they need to be reskilled. There is no funds available for this type of people. So that would be a great consideration from the government to look at this group of people. And there's over 1 million jobs in the United States of this nature that have been displaced and nobody talks about them. So I would like to involve education. I would like to involve government. I would like to involve industry, because the industry that is being impacted, they cannot just look in the other direction and say, okay, that's the problem of the individual that we just laid off. But this has to be a community effort. It has to be the kindness of an employer saying, okay, how do I transition this individual into a better life? It's not like I give you a 3-month package and I dump you on the streets. No. And then the other one, the number one pillar will be entrepreneurships. Entrepreneurs are crucial for the development of any economy. And so with shift and with transformation comes opportunity. And opportunity is very well represented always by the entrepreneurs group. These small organizations that are emerging and creating ideas and creating new companies in renewables and within the green economy, they need to come forward and say, look, I have jobs. Let's train these people to come in this direction. So that's my magic one list.
Wow. Okay. I'll invite you back to unpack the list, because I cannot do it. We cannot do it in only one session. Actually, I wanted to add.
It will take a long time to come to this consensus to bring all these people together.
I don't know if we have, the luxury of time. Scientists are still debating how fast the carbon is raising and what we should do. Well, it seems to, the numbers are, and the planet, it's actually going in its own way. I don't think the planet Earth is just, care too much about us as people. We have to care about ourselves and the planet. And just a footnote, but I would add also my profession. In AKFI, we did a presentation this year at International Congress for System Thinking, organized by Cornell. And it came to our attention that the transition also to electric vehicles, for instance, another form of energy transition, results in, tens, if not hundreds of thousands of mechanical engineers and technicians, not being needed anymore as we transition to an electrical car. And at the same time, a deficit of electrical engineers and people with skills in that area. So I think all the industries, not only the oil and gas or the energy industry, are in transition. But we cannot have an interview without bringing the topic of AI. And in particular, how do you see the AI? Because it's another factor in what you said, and it has its own transition path, transition in skills, transition in stakeholders.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there are so many. For example, the automotive industry, they are being heavily impacted by this same transformation. And so it will be a domino effect. It's, we're starting with the automotive, but, it's going to impact all the way to agriculture.
Absolutely. Actually, agriculture is a little bit ahead on self-driving tractors and so on, because, driving is less complex than on a Los Angeles highway, the Texas, Houston highway. So,
Exactly.
no, but going a little bit deeper, do you see the role of AI in education and in the energy transition starting to take shape, or you think it's more at the beginning of the trend?
I think we're at the beginning of the trend, and one of the successes of global energy transition right now, which is the organization that I founded 2 years ago for this purpose, has become the trendsetter. We're being very successful at establishing partnerships with the Stanford University, with Penn State, University of Houston Community College. These are organizations that have said, I see what you're saying, and I want to be part of this. And not only that, but I am sitting in their boards or in the advisory boards in order to amend the curriculums and in order to make recommendations about what is the transformation going to look like? How is that going to impact the future generations that are coming out into careers such as the ones that you just mentioned, mechanical engineers or geophysicists, geochemists? How are they going to be impacted? I mean, they are already, some of them are already finishing their careers, and now what? Do they have a field to go work with? Do we need to upskill them a little bit more? Do I need to show them the way into a different path related to renewable energy and the new transitioning model? Do we have a transitioning model to discuss in class? These things need to be addressed by university.
Certainly, and I know from my own experience that universities are also transitioning to digital. They are part of the digital transformation transitioning, and to me, this is a very complex system, and as I mentioned, there are different time components in this. I would give a little bit of time to Isabella, because Isabella, we talk a lot about the transition to AI. We talk a lot about the transition to digitalization, and Isabella is a futurist on her own rights. And I hope you, Sonia, will continue to guide us in your views. But Isabella, how do you see the transition, and in what Sonia had said, the energy transition, the transition of the education, the transition to electric vehicles, and so on?
I won't pretend.
Yeah, please go ahead.
I have very limited knowledge on things relates to energy, and very interested in the topic on sustainability in general, but definitely there's a huge trend shifting in educational industry in regards to the artificial intelligence development, and this applies across all industry. So regardless if you know about the industry or not, this power, it's really transforming everything we're doing today. So just look at the past year, the ChatGPT, how it does to our educational system, even our examinations, and the colleges are launching softwares to conquer the tests for, a lot of ChatGPT proven softwares, because students using them for essays, stuff like that. So it's definitely a huge shift when artificial intelligence is changing the way we operate things. And the same applies to energy saving. Again, I won't elaborate on that because there's an expertise on that I'm not very well know about. But I just see we have this huge trend that we can neglect as a double-edged sword, come with huge advantages and disadvantages, and how we balance the two. It's very crucial at the moment.
Sonia, from your vantage point, as you mentioned, you advise universities. What do you see coming in the next year, next couple of years? We're very close to the year end. What insights you can share about the direction the higher education is taking?
Yes, I think higher education is also due for a tremendous shift, considering obviously the renewable industry progression, along with Industry 4.0, which includes artificial intelligence and the transformation that comes with both of them. But I believe that education will become more of a personalized agenda, that intelligent tutoring systems will have to come to place, that automation should be considered a reality and not a proposition or not necessarily a theory, because it's here, it's happening. Enhanced teaching methods needs to come into place. Accessibility and inclusivity is also super important, because as we evolve into the fourth industrial revolution, along with the renewable conception of energy, then many factors will come into place, and even predictive analytics is going to play a tremendous role into, how do we plan classes, how do we train people, how does an individual behaves in terms of acceptance about these whole new theories and concepts, and all these new implications related to energy. And it's interesting because these two are two incredibly powerful driving forces: energy and technology. And as I mentioned before, they are merging, and they are merging in a way that is transforming the entire planet. It's not just transforming education, but it's transforming the entire planet.